Welcome to our tutorial on using blockchain for real-time supply chain management. Today, we will explore how blockchain technology can streamline supply chain processes and ensure transparency, efficiency, and traceability. Let's get started. First, let's define what blockchain is. Blockchain is a decentralized digital ledger that records transactions across multiple computers. This ensures that the records cannot be altered retroactively without the alteration of all subsequent blocks and the consensus of the network. Now, let's discuss why blockchain is beneficial for supply chain management. Traditional supply chains often suffer from inefficiencies, lack of transparency, and issues with data integrity. By using blockchain, all parties involved can share data in real time, improving collaboration. A few key benefits of using blockchain include enhanced traceability, improved inventory management, reduced costs, and increased security against fraud. In today's tutorial, we will build a simplified supply chain application using Java and Hyperledger Fabric, a popular blockchain framework. Make sure you have the following prerequisites: Java 8 or higher, Docker, and Node.js installed on your machine. Let's start by setting up our Hyperledger Fabric development environment. Open your terminal and execute the following commands. First, clone the Hyperledger Fabric samples, binaries, and Docker images. Next, navigate to the first network directory where we will create our blockchain network. Let's do this by executing the following command. Now, we will bring the network up. This command will create the necessary Docker containers for our peer nodes and orderer. Once the network is up, you can check the status of the containers using Docker. Open a new terminal and run. With our network running, it's time to create our smart contract. We will write a simple smart contract in Java that tracks the movement of goods in the supply chain. Create a new directory for your smart contract and add a file called supplychaincontract.java. In this file, we will define our smart contract class and the methods that will allow us to manage the supply chain. Let's start by defining the contract class. Next, we will define the attributes that our goods will have. This will include the item ID, description, status, and location. Now, let's write a method to create a new item in our supply chain. This method will take the item details as parameters and store them in the ledger. We should also write a method to update the status of the item as it moves through the supply chain. This method will accept the item ID and the new status. Finally, let's implement a method to query the status of an item by its item ID. This will come in handy for tracking our goods. To connect our smart contract to the blockchain network, we will deploy it using the following command from the first network directory. Once the smart contract is deployed, we will test its functionality. We will use a simple Java client to interact with our smart contract. Create a new file named supplychainclient.java in your project. In this client, we will set up a connection to the blockchain network. We will use the Fabric SDK for Java for this. Start by adding the necessary dependencies in your maven.pom.xml file, like so. Now, we can define the main class and set up the SDK client configuration. Next, create a method to invoke the smart contract's createItem function. This will allow us to add items to our supply chain. Now, let's create methods for updating the item status and querying the item status using the smart contract methods we created earlier. Finally, add some test calls in the main method to demonstrate the full functionality of the supply chain application. Create an item, update its status, and then query it. Now it's time to run our client application. Compile your code and execute it to see how it interacts with the blockchain network. Congratulations! You have successfully created a simple supply chain management system using blockchain. You've seen how to set up Hyperledger Fabric, write and deploy a smart contract, and interact with it using a Java client. In closing, the transparency and immutability provided by blockchain can significantly enhance trust among stakeholders in the supply chain. Real-time tracking of goods is now possible, and you can quickly address issues as they arise. Thank you for joining me in this tutorial. If you found this content helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others who might find it useful. Also, leave your comments and feedback down below. Happy coding!